Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Libra. If Libra is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Let's get started. Okay, knock, knock, knock. Let's see, what do we have? What do we have here today for you, Libra? I hope you all are doing well. I'm filming this on Sunday night. Has been a busy weekend. There are a lot of different holidays, festivals, holy days happening for a lot of us. So yeah, I'm just I'm a little worn out, and maybe you are too. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm gonna pull this away just to kind of see what the negative space looks like, and that's the white space between the tea leaves here. Sometimes there are images that kind of emerge in the background. Okay. Okay, so I want to start with, we have this, going right into the tripod. Okay, we have this little image here, and it looks like a little, maybe person wearing a dress or some kind of long robe. Their hair is kind of hanging. They are gazing upwards. It looks like at the stars or at their thoughts. This is the emotional psychic realm here, right on the kind of incline. So I believe that this is really like a lot of introspection going on. Because the head is raised in this posture, I feel that this is really a state of, it could be like longing, usually I would say that this is like looking towards awe, towards some kind of spiritual revelation, or some kind of thing that is coming through, that is creating a lot of clarity. But in this instance, I'm seeing that it looks like a road traveled. Okay, and then on this side there's kind of an animal. I think of a dog, almost like one of those, I think they're like a greyhound or something like this, and its head is kind of down. It almost looks a little bit sorrowful. So I feel that there's a departure from the two, but I think that this image is less of a kind of spiritual awe and more of kind of a contemplation, maybe even to some degree a wanting feeling, maybe really going over decisions, choices that have been made, choices that will be made, really not feeling completely secure in this moment. Okay, and I get the impression that there's almost a sense of kind of melancholy. I kind of feel two very kind of conflicting feelings happening. for you right now, Libra. And that is that I think that you're feeling a little, I don't know, maybe lonely and unreachable, or unable to kind of reach your partner, maybe somebody that you are in a relationship with, somebody you've been dating, married to, maybe somebody that you have deep feelings for. Whatever it is, I think that you have decided on this person, but you are going through a period of time where it feels like the connection is not there. It's not very vibrant. I don't think that it's that you're giving up on this relationship, but I think that there is kind of a sense of not being able to get on the same page at the same time. I feel that, and I wonder, I'm looking at some of these other images, and I'm thinking about the card that I've pulled, which is, and I'll pull it up here, it's the Princess of Wands, okay? This is very much a card of great attraction, an immense kind of want and need, desire, kind of a creative force, a coupling, really just that feeling of wanting to come together to initiate kind of a dance of courtship, or stir up the longings within your own relationship, and really just kind of be in that fiery, creative, sexual force, okay? However, I feel that you've been going through this period of time where you have maybe these kind of impulses of this feeling. They come on, and you have been having trouble directing that energy. I look up here and I see what looks like kind of these little horns. It looks like it has kind of legs like a maybe like a goat, or like some kind of animal, and I'm thinking of kind of a satyr or like a pan creature. And then here maybe a being, kind of a humanoid being, kind of in a posture of submission, or kind of meeting face to face in kind of a flirtation, or and I'm thinking kind of these pictures, if you are familiar, of the satyrs and the nymphs, and this kind of wild, lusty, haughty kind of dance, kind of this bacchanalian madness, right? And so I think that you kind of vacillate between these two things. And I wonder if, because it's been kind of difficult to reach this place with the person you have been with, or you have chosen to be with, there's some of this, I want to be delicate, kind of looking into the past, maybe previous connections you've had. I get the feeling that you feel like you chose somebody who you love, who you care for, who is very much somebody that's like an equal, somebody that you can rely on and they can rely on you. There is a good relationship there, in the sense that you trust each other. Probably domestically things are pretty good. But this other part, this kind of desire, fiery intensity, sometimes is kind of waning. And I feel like even when you were choosing to be with this person, to go forward with them in your life, it was kind of like choosing the sure choice, right? The thing that you knew would work out. And that was good. That was, that was like a safe, happy choice. I do feel like as you were deciding and as you were making those decisions to be together, there may have been some reservations about parts of your life that didn't really align. And I don't know if it is just kind of that physical, spirit, I'm trying to say, I don't know what I'm allowed to say exactly, but those physical, but also spiritual and physical connections, right? In the base chakra, in the heart chakra, these kinds of real intense meetings. I don't know if that was really there all the time or if at all. I don't know that I think that you believe that it wasn't that important. Okay, but also maybe it wasn't just that. Maybe it is about kind of really getting along on a more material, daily, mundane level, and having a decent friendship, a good friendship with one another, caring for each other, having a great love for each other. But maybe there is not that connection on a deep spiritual, psychic level. And that has proven to be very isolating for you. I feel that you are somebody who is loyal and you want to honor your relationship or the person that you are courting. If you are not already together, maybe you have the intention to be married or have a long-term relationship. And I think that it's kind of a point in your life where you had decided that, or are deciding that you can't have it all necessarily. And so you're kind of, accepting that. Okay. But as you have gotten into it, or as you're getting into it, realizing that some of the things that are missing, or you're having a tough time cultivating together, have left you really suffering. It's like a sense like it's a great loss of self. It feels like a great loss of self for you, because you have not really been growing in these ways with this person. And it really, I think, at least at some point in your life, was kind of a priority for you to be spiritually connected, to have somebody that you could do sacred work with, somebody who you could connect deeply in your desires, in your exploration, in your activation of these different parts of self. And maybe that's just not aligning right now. Okay. And I think that this is, it leads you into kind of almost like just a real melancholy state. Because you love the person, but it's hard to manage and figure out, why can we not connect this way, right? I want to look down here. When I look at it this way, I see it almost looks kind of like I get the impression that this is like almost like a motherly part of self, kind of tending over these other parts of self. And then up here, I see this little kind of, it looks like a little like guardian angel or something like that. It has wings, and it looks like it's holding something kind of like almost a towel or some kind of fabric. Okay. And so where my thinking goes with this is that no matter what is missing as far as the spiritual, the physical connection, or it's just not exactly how you envisioned it, you're having trouble evolving together or growing together in these ways, I think that it's important to, instead of romanticizing old things or maybe ways that you connected with others in the past, or or even just how you in your mind really envisioned, you hoped, you fantasized that this would happen, I think it's important to kind of take a beat and return to yourself. And I think that I suggest anyways in these moments to really take heed of yourself outside of this relationship. Somehow in your mind, kind of decouple yourself. Think of yourself as a singular being before you had all these shared things, right? And that happens when you're with somebody, even just for a while, but especially if it's been, a good amount of time, years or decades even, you very much become a unit, and you do think as a unit, or you think of yourself, you think of your household, the members of your household, you kind of calculate things in that way, as enough for everybody. But I think it's important in this instance that you try to separate yourself and you think about yourself as the individual, the person who is existing parallel to somebody else, another individual. And I think really, quieting of the mind, quieting of the emotions to the degree that you can, and consider, what would you want in your life? What would you want your life to look like if you were not dependent on, the whims and the needs and the wants of the group? Your significant other, children, family members, all the people that depend on you and that you depend on. If you could separate yourself, what would you actually truly want for yourself? What would your life look like? Okay. Would it be very different? Would it be quite the same? And I think that, it's important to almost kind of parent this part of yourself. The part as the individual, but also the part that is hurting in the sense that you're kind of losing parts of your identity, or feeling like you are, you're perceiving that you are. I think that it's important to be empathetic. And as you kind of envision a life that you would want for yourself, if there were no kind of restrictions or boundaries or rules or whatever, beginning to think about what is actually doable in the way that your life is right now. Okay, so we're back into that relationship. thinking or into that family unit thinking. What can you implement in your life? What is reasonable? What things, what little kind of tinkerings could you do to realign yourself so that maybe you bring some power back into your individuality within the group, within your, microcosm kind of community, your family, your close community. And I think that is so important. And oftentimes we kind of lose ourselves in the minutia of life, in all of the tedium of life, in the long days and all the many tasks and the errands and things you have to remember for yourself and everybody else. It's easy to forget what you would even want. What would you want? Who are you? Who are you now? Or are you who you were? Have you become something else? And I think it's important to take inventory of these things. I think that sometimes our inability to relate to our partners, and this is not always, I think this is, just my 2 cents in this moment, in this context. I think that sometimes we have trouble connecting because we're not connected with ourselves. And I know it's it sounds like kind of some self-help BS, like you have to love yourself before you love somebody else. But I mean, on some level that is kind of true, right? A little bit. But most importantly, we have to honor ourselves before we can really receive anybody else in a way that is like deep and lasting. And so if you cannot manage to be your number one devotee, I get it. I understand. That's hard. That's a lot of work to get to that place. But if you are doing little things to listen to yourself, even just rearranging how you speak to yourself sometimes, your interior self-talk, your internal dialogue. If you are kind of being, and this is my mom guilt speaking, but, and it's not selfish, but, sometimes it feels selfish. If you kind of advocate for yourself to do the things that you need for yourself, and it can feel like, okay, I'm, taking more than my share, or, I am being a little selfish with my own time, and I should be doing this thing, but I'm going to do this for me, just for me. I think that it's important to do that sometimes. I think it's important to really try to do it as much as you can within reason, because so easily we end up living for the other people in our lives, and that's okay. Especially if you have a family, there's nothing wrong with that, but you also have to live for yourself, right? So I guess really, and this is kind of a departure from even this kind of relationship reading it started out with in the beginning. I think the real thing here is to, I hope in the next week or two, after you hear this, that you can, spend a couple afternoons doing something you want to do, or whatever time of day you have. Go to the bookstore, go get your nails done, go take a nap, whatever it is, have something indulgent, clean your closet out. Refuse to do something for somebody else in your household before you get your own thing done. Don't be deterred from finishing your own project. whatever it is, however this is going to look like to you, empower yourself to focus on something just for you, okay? And, you know, I think that if we approach this way, or if we approach these kinds of practices with love for self, love for your healing process, love for, you know, reacquainting yourself with prioritizing your needs, okay? I think that this gives you a larger capacity to deal with some of the other stuff, to maybe be more willing to try to, you know, expend a little energy connecting with your partner, and hopefully, you know, by living in your, you know, self-healing, by acting for self, it kind of influences those around you, and maybe even your, you know, significant other or whoever, to treat you and see you and hear you the way that you want to be treated, because you're treating yourself that way, right? And yeah, maybe this is idealistic thinking, but I really do think that, you know, we set the tone often for how people treat us based on how we treat ourselves, how we speak about ourselves, and so on. So, I don't know. This is, you know, I think that maybe try it out. Let me know how it goes. I don't have any great deep answers about what's going on with your relationship, but I just know that, you know, you're having some difficulties, and, you know, you're not alone in that. And every relationship goes through its kind of seasons, you know, and its cycles, and hopefully, you know, by trying to lessen your focus on really deeply getting into, you know, these kinds of places of, I don't like the melancholy, but just really, and I get in these cycles within a lot of things in my life, and it's part of just having a trauma brain, right? I focus on the tiny little negative things, and that sets a tone for me, and I go into circle in my mind about it until I really can just reach in there and lift myself out and do something else. You know, focus on something completely different and stay busy with doing something, usually like physically with, you know, that's with my senses. So I can like get out of my head and I can use my body and my senses and problem solve and see, you know, like a good example for me is like cleaning the closet, right? So taking everything out, going through it, and then organizing it, putting back what needs to be there, which I'm gonna have to be doing because the season changed abruptly. It went from like 15 degrees to like 75 degrees in just like 2 weeks. So I'm thinking about cleaning my closets this week. And so this will be a good exercise for me to not be in my head too much, besides planning what we might need to wear. Well, who knows, because the freaking weather's so back and forth. But, you know, so I hope this helps. I hope that, you know, this reading is received well by some anyways. And let me look at this really quick. And so I see kind of the eyes and the nose. It's kind of missing the mouth on here. So I think it's to be determined how it's going to go exactly. But I also think that, you know, you're shifting through something right now. And I would just say, you know, really I think that you are good at not having reactions that just kind of pop out of nowhere. And, you know, I think you're pretty reserved and patient with yourself and with your feelings. So I think that that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's going to be, you know, a process of figuring this out a little bit. And, you know, as always, I think the communication is important. And, but I think more than anything right now, communicating with yourself is like the utmost. Not just contemplating, right? And going over old scenarios and old memories and this kind of thing. I think really thinking about like what you need right now. And maybe not related to the relationship. Okay, what you need for you, what kinds of things do you want to do for yourself, okay? And I think shifting out of that mode is going to be helpful, okay? Yeah, so that's pretty much the reading, and I want to thank you so much, Libra. I'm always so honored to be able to bring these messages to you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm. If you have not subscribed, please think about subscribing. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos come out. Other than that, leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what's going on with you. I love hearing from each and every one of you. All right, we will see you again, or we'll talk again, you and I. We'll talk again in a week. All right. Thank you.